FNAF movie is a hard sell. The reason as to why is it is a movie made just for the general audience of the FNAF games, which is not a bad thing. The idea of a movie is pretty much for them to make money, and the FNAF fandom is a very large moneymaker. And this can be easily seen in the box office. It made lots more than its budget, and that's even when you factor in the fact that it's on a streaming service at the same time, which means the FNAF movie was a huge success, and thanks to that, we'll be seeing many of these come out in the following years. But the FNAF movies only work due to the fact that they have a built-in audience. If you look at the general public, they're not too keen on it. For instance, let's look at Rotten Tomato. Now, Rotten Tomato gave this a score of 87 for the general audience, like, people who love it, the fandoms, and 31 for critics, people who just go and see a movie as a movie. And the way and what the consensus are for both of them is the audience love it because it's a nostalgia-driven love for people who have been in the FNAF fandom for a long time. And the critics hate it because it is not really a good movie unless you know about the FNAF fandom and all that. The whole lore, the stories, everything. This, understandable. Sometimes when you want to see a movie that's dedicated to a fandom, you would love for the movie to be tailor-made for the fans. For instance, I like Death Note. The Death Note movie in America sucked on Netflix. And that's because they tried to appeal to a general audience and they fumbled the bag real bad. The same thing with Cowboy Bebop on Netflix again. Netflix aren't really good at making something. But thanks to the fact that you have a built-in audience and you're trying to cater to that built-in audience, you cannot make a movie for the general audience. And it was always going to be a hard sell for the general audience. Let's look at the fact that the games cannot really translate well towards a movie. And I'm saying that based on the movie. It might work if there was a different way they went about it, but in this movie, it did not work at all. In the FNAF games, which are, let's just focus on the first one. We're not going to talk about the rest of them. In the first FNAF game, it is about an hour to about 2-hour video game. You are a security guard named Mike, who is watching a pizzeria with live animatronics that walk through the hallways at night. Your job is to not die, and the game mechanic is you to conserve power and make sure you keep an eye on them so they do not come and take and, in your night shift early. It's a simplistic game. It's a simplistic game setup mechanic. What makes it fun is the hidden lore the game has. It is what made the Five Nights at Freddy's games Five Nights at Freddy's. The fact that you had to Easter egg hunt all the lore bits. And this made a community online people who wanted to figure out what it was about, and it just grown and grown from there. The FNAF movies, on the other hand, do not have the luxury that the game had. You are in a movie seat, so they need to give you all the information. Well, they want to give you all the information. The FNAF movie, I don't want to go into too many details about it, but I'm going to give a few things in which I think what makes the FNAF movies fail. And that is that you have to be a little bit more realistic than you were in the games. For instance, in the FNAF movies, the main character is named Mike. He will be a security guard throughout the movies for the Five Nights at Freddy's pizzeria. Now, now it has to show you how he got to work there and why he continues to work there. And it's just not what a lot of people came to sign up for. I mean, yeah, you're trying to sell this to a general audience as well, but they went clucky about it. And that's not fault to the actors. I feel like some actors did pretty well. It's just the first video game does not give you a lot to work with. You literally are in a single room and you had to find lore, and that's it for the first game. So you had to make a story of who Mike is and why Mike is staying in an animatronic thing. You're just cluttering. You're cluttering too much. Like, for instance, the main character sleeps so much. He sleeps the most out of any main character I've seen. He wants to do something, he sleeps, he goes to the next area. Something's about to happen, he needs sleep before the action happens. The whole movie is him being so inactive. Just, it's a lot, man. But there were moments I felt that the movie could succeed. Like, for instance, there is a scene in which three burglars or four burglars come in to the pizzeria while Mike is off duty to just trash it. And one of the burglars go inside of the security room and see the animatronics are trying to come after him from the camera. And that moment right there was so tense. Like, for me personally, I am a person who likes the FNAF games. I don't play them. I don't like the jump scares. But I do love the lore. And that movie was so much of what made me feel so scared when I saw gameplay of the first FNAF. You don't get much of that because the game was made, well, the movie was made with the idea for kids to see it. But man, golden. But at least one thing is good is the movies are going to be made every year. It made a lot of money. Of course, it's going to be made every year. But Blumhouse did say they are listening to audience feedback and they will be working on that. And I think that's a great thing. I like them and I wish to see how they're going to play out for the rest of them. Okay, that's it.